This is the perfect time to make birdhouses. This is a great time of the year to go outside, take some pallet wood to make some projects around the house. This pallet was made out of oak, so it was very nice. It had some defects, but I decided to rip some of the sections to make them all even. The standard size of the birdhouse is 5 by 5 inches. The main section has 3 5x5 pieces, one 5.5 by 5, one 6 by 5, and one 7 by 5. In this run here, we were doing some trial and error. I didn't know how it was going to come out, so we needed to kind of dry fit everything together. Here I am cutting the pieces for the other birdhouse. After all the pieces are cut and dry fitted, then I applied some wood glue. Here I am putting things together, making sure they aligned before we apply the nails. Then using a clamp to keep everything together before using the nail gun. Went ahead and grabbed a finishing nail gun and then fastened the pieces together. I think we used 1.5 inch finishing nails. This section of the wood had defects, so I went ahead and put some wood glue to kind of give it some strength. I was not gonna get another piece. This was fine enough. It was not gonna support a big bird, so I was not concerned about it. Here I am cutting the other pieces. These are gonna be the longer pieces. These are gonna be the 7 by 5 and the 6 by 5 pieces, which are gonna be part of the roof structure. They need a little bit of an overhang in order to differentiate it, to make it different from the other sides. The good thing about this birdhouse is that its shape, it's essentially a box, but if you set it up as a diamond, the birds are able to create their nest on the bottom section. One of the sides is only being held by 3 screws, which after the chicks come out of the nest and go flying, they go bye-bye, you can take off this bottom section and you can clean out the nest for the next bird. In our backyard, we have several kinds of birds. We have robins, we have cardinals, we have Eastern Bluebirds, we have crows, and some other kinds of birds that I have not seen before. Now, the interesting thing about this build, about this birdhouses, is that after 3-4 weeks, we started getting some visitors. Eastern Bluebirds came about, and one morning I walked outside to the bench, as I do every morning, sit outside and get some sun, and I saw a little straw sticking out of the hole. And when I looked in there, there was a little egg. So I'm gonna be tracking these birds now that I know they're there. And so hopefully you'll get to see that next video. Now my son is measuring the hole. We determined that about 2 inches is good. It's a good size of a hole for this type of a birdhouse. So I basically showed him how to go ahead and measure and divide the section. So he's drilling a hole in the upper third area of the birdhouse. After this, it's time for some rough sanding. These are not gonna be 100% perfect. We're gonna keep them rough. We're gonna make sure that they have some character. After the first birdhouse is done, then we proceed and start working on the second birdhouse. Basically the same process, so go ahead and take a look if you missed anything on the previous one. I mean, this is not a detailed guide, but you can get some ideas about it. It's really, really simple to make. My son had to remove the cover because it was rough on the inside. I had to help him out because, you know, kids. More rough sanding, a little bit of final QC check, removing some of the dust before we start painting. So here I am showing them to just kind of go liberal with it, go crazy with the paint. It doesn't have to be perfect, just go ahead and paint. Don't worry about it being perfect. It's supposed to be imperfect. It's supposed to have some rough areas. It's supposed to look weathered. After this, we sanded the paint. You're not gonna see it here because I didn't record it, but we sanded the paint to make it rough, to make it look even worse than it looks now. But that's the beauty of it, right? If it looks ugly, it's beautiful. So here you have my son opening the can of stain without gloves. He quickly learned he had to go grab some gloves. Now the staining process begins for the second birdhouse, which was essentially the first one we made. So I told him to go liberal, like the paint. This day, the clouds kept coming in and out, so you can see a lot of that in the video. And here's the final product. We use a nylon cord to hang it. I'm thinking about using a hard wire so they don't move as much. But as you can see, they don't look that bad. I mean, they're rough, of course. That's what I wanted. So go ahead, get out there, get on board, do something. If not for you, do it for your kids. Show them to make something nice. Until next time, have fun. Support this channel. Thank you.